Morgan Spurlock's outside. We should bring him in. He's got a new documentary that's premiering this Saturday.
Cool.
At 9 p.m. on Discovery called Rats. I watched it.
I didn't know. I have to pay attention to
Yeah,
email.
because you don't check your stupid emails.
That fart is disgusting, dude. Hey, good seeing Morgan. No, this one wasn't. This was Sam.
Don't believe a word he says.
Yeah.
Don't believe a word he says.
I always claim my farts.
Welcome, Morgan Spurlock.
I just got to, just for those of you at home who are listening, it smells spectacular.
It's got a nice whiff.
It's got a nice aroma.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of, you've dealt with a lot of disgusting things in your.
Every morning I do.
I'm sure.
Starting this morning. Yeah.
I'm sure Super Size Me contained quite a few McDonald's farts.
It was a very smelly. I smelled. See, with that film also, it's like you had no idea. I smelled so bad by the end of that film. Like I was just putting off like this terrible McMusk, like just this deep fried funk.
You didn't really talk about the stench that goes along with it.
Oh, it's like a real proper terrible smell. My girlfriend hated me at the time.
You probably could have got a lot more people to agree with you on the McDonald's thing if you were like, also, it makes you stink.
Also, in smell-o-vision. Yeah, if I could have just done that.
Was it your body sweat, like your armpit odor and all that? It smelled like bad shit, right?
It was like what would, just the farts smelled bad, and then like kind of what was sweating out of me anytime I would sweat just smelled terrible.
I love a good McDonald's fart, though. Sometimes when Kenny and I would be on the road, I'd get like at 2 in the morning, there's just nothing, and you're like, I'm nauseous, I got to eat.
Yeah.
I throw a cheeseburger down before we hit the next exit. Oh, it's fucking
Would you
wonderful.
get gassy?
Horrid.
Real quick?
As the crinkle of the fucking paper opened, it was like...
It smells very similar on both ends. That's the thing.
Yeah. It makes you hungry again.
That's right.
It's a great cycle. So Sam saw this documentary. I didn't know we were able to see it. I'm really bad at this.
Jim's not a technological guy, so he doesn't tend to check emails.
I do
Screen
check
links
them,
in them.
but he's just got to text me and tell me I got a thing for you. I get so many emails. I should have seen. So what is this about rats? Because we're all fascinated with these awful creatures.
Yeah, so, a friend of mine, a guy named Josh Braun, optioned a book by Robert Sullivan, came out a few years ago, New York Times bestseller, about rats, which was all about like rat infestations in New York, the history of rats. And so my friend brought me this book, and he goes, "Tell me what you think about it." And I read it, and I'm a lifelong horror fan. Like I grew up a crazy horror fan.
I can tell you made it like a horror movie.
That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
And so I grew up loving, like, I had terrible parents back in the 70s where they would take me to movies you should never take kids to, like, The Exorcist or The Omen or, Jaws and Scanners. And Scanners was the movie that made me want to make movies. Like when Michael Ironside made that guy's head explode, that was it. Changed my life.
Didn't he say, "I'm going to suck your brain dry"? Was that what that was?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see the Green Inferno?
Oh, Green Inferno. Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Yeah, I love Eli Roth.
It was just a throwback to like everything that's not made anymore, right? Like very 70s, like cannibal movies.
It was like I just was having a whole cannibal conversation just yesterday. But it's so after I read the book, I went back to my friend Josh and I said, well, what if we made a horror documentary? So it'll be a straight doc, it'll be all true, but we shoot it like a horror film, score it like a horror film. Make it feel as dark and as creepy.
Great.
It's great. And so the film came out really dark and fucked up, and I think it's so awesome. Like I'm really proud of it.
And it's not like it's a very different from people who are used to Morgan Spurlock documentaries because it's not like you're not a character in it at all.
I'm not in one frame of the whole movie because I thought it was scary enough without putting this face in the movie. It's gonna be better. And we have an amazing editor, Pierre Takal, who also scored the film, so it sounds like this great like 1980 John Carpenter film. Like it is. It's got this great synth-driven soundtrack. It's fantastic.
I didn't think it was a documentary when I turned it on. Like I when I first started watching like that opening scene and the thing jumps and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, is this just a movie about? Is this like that movie Ben? Like
That's
what,
right.
what is Morgan doing now?
What do you learn about rats? Like I want to know what do you learn? Because all we know about them is that they're hard to kill and they fucking can get it anywhere.
Not me. I watched the movie. I know a lot about rats.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
That's
That's why I want to know what would I learn if I checked my email.
So many. If you check your email and watch the film, which is this Saturday night on Discovery at 9:00, if you watch the movie, you'll learn so many things. We travel all around the world. That's the thing. This isn't just like an innate U.S. problem or New York problem. Although New York does have a tremendous amount of rats. Chicago's actually now #1 in America. So
really?
Congratulations, Chicago. Very proud of you guys. But as you travel around the world, you start to see that everywhere you go, there are rat infestations. India, Vietnam, Cambodia. We're in England. We're in France.
Where's the worst?
I mean, America's bad, but I think the worst that we saw over the course of making this film, I mean, India, you get into like Mumbai, where there's also a lot of people sleeping on the streets, so there's a lot of people who have to deal with kind of being bitten in the middle of the night, and it's, I think that where we saw the worst was probably there.
That was probably my favorite part because, like, we had just gone to New York because the movie goes like location to location to location and just kind of shows how the culture deals with this rat culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just been in New York, and you see all this technology and the cameras going down the drains and these health department things and their methods and all this stuff. And then you go to India, and they've got a problem that's so bad, thousands of people are dying from the diseases that the rats are carrying.
And they have a city group of employees called the night rat killers that go out at night that go out armed basically with like a net and a stick and a flashlight.
That's all
and
it is.
And a bag. And they go out and they kill rats with their bare hands, and it's one of the most incredible things you'll ever see.
I might have missed the point of the movie though, because I kept feeling bad for the rats.
Well,
that's why
it's called relating to them.
That's right.
A pest that people want to kill.
Yeah, I think that there are. I think that some people will probably feel bad for them. I think at the end of the day, a lot of people realize that they are a menace in a lot of ways and carry a lot of disease and cause problems. I mean, some of the things you learned, and I learned over the course of making this film, is just the way that rats evolve. Like they evolve 10 times faster than human beings, so that if you create a poison to kill a rat, within a few generations, they'll already start to develop an immunity to that poison.
Right.
So I mean, it is a remarkable thing how evolution has just created this little survival machine in these rats.
It was nuts seeing them that they had very quickly evolved to the point where the poison did not affect them whatsoever.
Yeah.
And they had their whole little communities and they could communicate with each other where if you put poison out, then they showed it. Like they had a hidden camera in so you could see it in the ceiling of some place.
That's right.
Like if you put poison out for a rat and they don't know what the poison is, they'll leave it there and then they'll send the weakest rat out to get it.
To check it out.
And then they'll watch. And if that weak rat dies, then they'll leave it alone.
Yeah,
they'll piss on it and they'll
pee
leave
all
it
over
alone.
him. Yeah, they pee all over him so they know don't go near that rat or that poison. And so
wow.
Yeah, so they have
Jesus Christ! You know how fast I would have been ostracized by humanity if that's how we did it here, just covered in urine in my own house.
I thought that was just called Saturday.
Yeah, it is. Thank God I was able to shower.
You know, it was a communication tool as well.
Wow, that's pretty. Why did they cut their tails off? Was that when they're dead?
That was when, so they cut the tails off of those to do the research. This shot, we're looking at the trailer right now in the studio, and so this is one of my favorite things. In the rural countryside of England, they have packs of terriers, rat terriers and Jack Russell terriers that will go out and hunt rats on farms. So they have this big day of it where they go out and they have those hunting days. All the people put on their hunting gear like they were going fox hunting, and they take these little terriers out and just they dig up where there were rats and they just kill hundreds and hundreds of rats.
And that's needed because they cause a havoc on the farm.
That's exactly right. So places where they'll grow like hunting birds or things like that, because rats will eat other birds. Rats will eat other rats. Rats are
hungry.
They're hungry and super carnivores. So they will eat whatever is around. And so on these farms where they have these types of livestock, they will bring in these dogs to help control the rat problem. It's an amazing thing to witness.
I'm so glad I don't live in the city. I don't even know if you're going to want to watch it because they really are everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
That scene where because they have a camera that can go down drains.
That's right. So we stuck a camera under the street.
And you see, they're we're just see if we can find one. And you end up seeing how many there are just
where
packed
did you
together.
put the camera down?
There was a crack in the sidewalk, and so we basically took the crack and we stuck it under the crack in the sidewalk. Because when you see certain cracks, a lot of those cracks are caused by rat paths that are underneath the sidewalk. When you see a perfect crack that goes from either a drain to a building, that a lot of times that's caused by rats underneath it. And so we stuck it in. Yeah, so we stuck it into this crack so we could see underneath it. And inside there was dozens of rats just waiting to come out to get the food. And that's the problem in New York City and big cities everywhere. We are giving them their sustenance. Every night we put out the garbage, and so every night the rats are like, well, why would we ever leave?
The problem is we should put signs up.
Yeah.
To not eat the food. They
No
probably
rats.
don't know any better.
That's right. Exactly.
No food here, just garbage.
Sorry, just garbage. And so now there's all these people who are trying to create. They have these mint flavored garbage bags that apparently they say rats won't chew through them because they hate the flavor of the garbage bag. And I was like, that. And so the exterminator we talked, he's like, oh yeah, those don't work.
They eat shit, don't they?
They'll chew right through those.
Yeah. They're immune to poison, but mint is too much for
Yeah,
them. It's not my taste.
I hate it in my tea as well.
Where on earth did you find the New York exterminator for this movie because he might be like Doc or no, he might be my favorite character.
He's one of the greatest characters
In
I've
any
ever
movie,
found.
yeah.
That I've ever found in my life. So once we knew we were making the film, I wanted to find Quint. I wanted to find Quint.
Yes.
I wanted to
Perfect.
find Quint on the boat, who's there saying 200 men went into the water. You wanted that guy who's going to tell you those stories. And so we started just asking around New York City saying, where can we find Quint? Where's the guy? I want this salty old exterminator. And everybody, no matter where you went in the city, everybody's like, oh, you got to call Ed Sheehan. You got to call Ed Sheehan out in Bay Ridge. And so, so we go to Bay Ridge, we meet with Ed Sheehan. Ed Sheehan's been doing this 49 years. He's been killing rats in New York City. And so we just sit down, we talk to him, we asked him some questions, he told us some stories, and I was like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
This is Robert Shaw for us.
Wow.
And he's just sitting there and it's all well lit and he's smoking his cigar and just like letting you know, like, you think you know rats? You don't know rats.
You don't know rats.
Yeah.
You don't. I know rats.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's him. That's Ed Sheehan. So, and he's clean shaven there. That was at the film festival, Toronto Film Festival premiere, where the movie's part of the Midnight Madness section. So we kind of got the blessing of being a real proper horror film by premiering at Midnight Madness. We were opposite Blair Witch and a bunch of other great twisted
that's
movies.
cool.
It was awesome.
So is that what made this appealing for you?
Very different
That you
Ed
got
Sheehan
to-
right there. That is not the Ed Sheehan we're looking for.
Is that what made this appealing? That it felt like you were making like a
horror
scary
film.
movie as
Yeah,
opposed to.
well, I didn't want to make just a straight historical movie like rats came from Mongolia in the 15th century. That was not, it's not the movies I like making. I like making even documentaries. I like making movies that feel like movies, and the ability to kind of try something different, make a real genre-bending film, which I think the film does a great job of. And so it is a straight doc. You will learn so much when you watch this, but it plays like a horror film. It feels like a movie.
It's amazing how they are the most fast. Rats, roaches, you can get people to watch shit on them all day long, and they're just disgusting.
It's great. And the fact that Discovery Channel, which we were so excited about, so we pitched them first. We said, well, here's what we want to make, thinking for sure they're going to be like, nope, not for us. They were like, oh, yeah, let's make this. Let's do it. And they were on board. They completely supported us the whole time. They were like, whatever you guys want to do. They just, they kind of gave us free reign to make the creepiest, weirdest movie we could.
It really creeps you. Like I was sitting there, I was watching part of it on a train in New York.
Yeah.
And I just felt like there was just every 30 seconds I had to look down and see if there's a rat that was going to crawl up my ankle or stuff. Because you've seen the YouTube videos, right, where the guy falls asleep on the subway.
That story, that rat that ran up the guy's body asleep on the subway, and Pizza Rat, both created by a New York performance artist, both fake videos.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That this performance artist shot the videos and then put them out to the press, and then suddenly they got picked up everywhere. Everybody thought they were real.
Oh,
True
so
story.
the rat crawling up the guy is not real?
Also fake.
Wow.
I've had a rat crawl at me, but it was my friend's pet. My friend had a pet rat, and she put it, and it crawled up. And the weird part was feeling their little claws dig into you. She had 2 of them, and they were fat. And they get these little red mites on them. I don't know what those are, but even domesticated rats get them. But they were her pets, and they still felt a little...
Those are Ebola.
Oh, good.
Ebola bugs.
But it was weird feeling them... feeling them on. Well, how'd they create this? Is that guy the performance artist or no?
So that's not the performance artist. Is a girl named Zardulu,
and the guy is someone.
And
she
the guy
knows.
is someone that she.
That's a
did
trained
this thing
rat?
with. And that was on a train. And
She's
Pizza
not-
Rat, she also created.
She's not the same one with the crickets, is she?
I don't think so. Like but she will only, like we said, do we want to talk about this? And so we reached out to her and she sent us a video of her because she wears this mask when she talks to you and then disguises her voice. Like she goes, I am Zardulu. I will talk to you about the rats. And so I was like, we're not putting this in the movie. This is not going in the film. Exactly. It's not happening.
It didn't sound good.
Yeah, no.
Like a mob witness.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty.
Yeah, that's what she wears. That costume. That's what she wears in the videos.
I never get freaked out by them. Like, meaning I don't
By
want
rats?
one on me. No. But if I'm walking and I see them scurrying past your feet from garbage to the bushes, I don't necessarily love it, but I'm like, they're not going to jump on me. They want garbage.
Yeah, they'll only jump on you when cornered. Like if they feel like they have no other way to get out, then they will jump and they'll jump right for your chest. So they'll try and jump like right, and they can jump like 4 to 5, like anywhere between 4 and 6 feet in the air, depending on how big the rat is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so they'll go for your chest because they want to get as close to your face as possible because they'll know that will usually scare you away, just so they can have the ability to jump and then run.
But they don't want to bite you. They want to get out of there.
They want to get out of there.
So rats. How about the old the 12th century thing they would do, where they put that on your chest
With the bucket.
They heat the other side of it.
That's right. Yeah. So they would basically get like a metal bucket. They put a rat on your chest and put a metal bucket on the top and start to burn it, and then a rat will eat through your stomach and eat through
To get away from the metal.
to escape the heat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like a medieval rat
It
torture.
worked too.
Yeah.
They did that in American Psycho in the book.
Oh, they did? Is
Yeah,
that how
he
you
has
knew about
the rats tunnel into a girl's pussy. And then he fucking, because her pussy, the book is so good, because her vagina, it won't fit the tube, so he burns it with acid, then he puts the tube in, and then he puts a rat in, and it burrows into her stomach, and then he pulls the tube out.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
What do you...
I didn't put that in the movie.
No,
I left that one out of the film.
You have to at least put canned laughter. When
That's
you do.
right. You forget to leave things for the sequel.
So you were there for all the shoots or just some of them?
I was there for the whole movie.
So was that creepy to be around that amount of rats? Like,
In the
I feel
rat
like...
temple. The rat temple is
Oh,
by
of
far the
course,
rest.
yeah.
So the film ends like we go to this place in India. Oh, you are awesome. Thank you. We go to this place in India where they believe, and India is a gigantic country. I mean, it's huge. Billions of people live there. And so you go from Mumbai, where they go out at night with the night rat killers and kill them with sticks and nets. And then just to the north of that, in Rajasthan, there is a temple where there are 35,000 rats in this one building, all alive. And the people who live in the town and come to worship there believe that these are their ancestors, that when they die as humans,
idiots.
they are that you are reincarnated as a rat.
Right.
And then the rat lives his life, and then when he dies, he's reincarnated back as a person.
You don't think that's
Yeah.
true?
No, it's just dreck.
And so people go there and they basically feed them, they hang out with them, they play with them.
They feed them by hand?
They feed them by hand. There's these giant bowls that the rats drink out
that
of.
was the worst,
That
dude.
rats drink milk out of, and they come up and they drink the milk out of it with the rats. There's the picture right there. That is unbelievable.
There's literally a scene where all the rats are drinking milk out of this bowl.
Milk.
And the guy is talking to the camera.
And it's and you can
scooping
see
it up.
and you can see there's like turds floating in it and
Yeah.
like urine floating on the top of the milk,
And
they
he's
just
just
come up.
he's scooping it up with his hand and being like, the milk is good. The milk is good.
The milk is fine.
Do
I won't get sick.
do the rats bite these people or no?
I mean, I'm sure there have been people who've been bitten. We talked to them and they said, yeah, people have gotten bitten, but it's usually just a play bite. They're not like trying to fight you or hurt you.
Do the rats associate people with bringing them food?
Oh, it's at this temple completely. Like these rats are not afraid of one human in that place because the humans take care of them.
Did you feel when you would get back to your hotel rooms or whatever,
You
like
feel
you had
disgusting.
fucking rats everywhere?
dirty is it?
I would
The
come
bugs?
home. I would come home and I would shower. There was not enough soap in every hotel I would stay in. It's like I would go in. I'd have the hottest shower. I'd be in the shower for like 35, 40 minutes, just like scrubbing myself. But it is an amazing.
I would go and
film.
look there like that, especially since they're so used to people.
Oh yeah.
But the whole why do you gotta wear slippers? But barefoot. You go barefoot?
Because you have to take your shoes off.
Yeah, you got to worship. It's the temple,
That's right.
Got to be respectful.
Ew,
Yeah,
fuck
so,
that.
And so you have to walk around barefoot.
Imagine having a fucking foot worship fetish in that shitty country.
Rats crawling all
Oh
over your feet.
man.
Oh, there's Zardulu right there.
Milk is good. Awesome. And I've
Yeah.
said that to women I've dated, but
The milk is good.
that's disgusting. I wouldn't want rats in my shoes, leaving their little rat shits.
Yeah,
But
it's,
I guess
it's
you knew
unbelievable.
going into this that this would be all about the footage, right? Like,
So
like you had to get that rat footage.
we were shooting in the sewers of Paris, which they wouldn't let us shoot in the sewers of New York City, which is they're like, no, it's a safety hazard. And I'm like, is it? Is it a safety hazard or is it something else?
You
Is
don't
there
want it- you don't want it all
is there another
exposed?
reason why you don't want us in there?
Did you go barefoot?
And so,
Or socks?
we had socks. We had a little bit of coverage. I was not going to be,
Kids just sitting there. This is fucking
Yeah.
horrible.
But so you're shooting in the sewers in Paris?
So we're shooting in the sewers in Paris, full on like Tyvek suits, like the Wellington boots, that come way up and with the duct tape around. Just because, like you said, some points as you're going through the sewers of Paris, you're wading through anywhere between 6 to 12 inches of like full on excrement that's being flushed out of the buildings, and just rats running around everywhere down there. I mean, it was one of the most disgusting places I've ever shot in my life, and then none of it ended up in the film. And so you're in there and you're just like, oh my god, can't believe I spent a whole day in like a Paris sewer and none of it made it in the movie.
You know what the most helpful part of the whole movie is? It's that you see what a rat piss stain
It's
looks
incredible.
like.
So you know.
And so you could go to a restaurant and you could see, because you see that now you look down at the sidewalk, you see them everywhere.
What's a rat piss stain look like?
It is usually like so you can see the gob, so it looks like a circular piece, but it has a pulled into it because they usually dribble at the end.
Oh, God bless them
And
little
so,
hearts.
and so it's like a circular piece with like a little dribble, so it looks like an extended balloon almost. That's one in the ceiling. So when you have ceiling tiles that look like that, there's usually an infestation in your roof where they're peeing in the ceiling tiles and it will spread. And
That's
create
what that
things.
is on the ceiling?
Yeah, it looks like a water slide, but that's usually rat urine.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
because you see that on the ceilings a lot.
Yeah. And that's usually like comes from. I'm looking at the ceiling in here now.
I know,
seeing, like,
so
what's
am I.
happening, what's happening in
Exactly.
Sirius now? The studio here looks pretty good.
Yeah, we
Pretty
used to have We used to in the old here. I don't think there's any rats up here.
No.
But in the old place that we were at,
the management, right or wrong?
whoa, Jim.
Yeah, rebels in the morning.
The old place that we were at on 57th Street was really bad because there was a vacant lot next to us.
Oh yeah.
And so like you'd see them. I tell you, when we were doing, because we start the show now at 8, but when we were starting at like 6 in the morning, so I would have to walk here at like 4:30,
that's prime time. That's
5
prime
o'clock.
time.
I remember right in front of our building.
Yeah.
It was like fall. It was like dark. It was cool. And I thought that there was a whole bunch of leaves, like a giant thing of leaves blowing across the street. And I realized it was dozens of rats just scurrying from under a car.
Wow.
I mean, and there'd be on 57th Street, Mars used to tell me that the garbage men, it was their sport, it was their game, because every day they would jump off the garbage truck, they would have a baseball bat, and one of them would pick up the garbage bag, and the other would get ready, because there was always rats under the garbage bag, right outside our building.
They don't get freaked out.
No, they would hit
those
the rats
guys-
with bats.
those
Garbage
guys
guys
have
must
seen-
be so used to rats and roaches.
Oh, they've seen it all. Those guys have seen it all.
Yeah. But
And,
I mean, they're-
and smelled it all. That's also a very smelly job.
and like there's a supermarket like 3 blocks up from here, and every morning that I would come in, as long as it wasn't snowing or whatever,
Yeah.
like in the fall and the spring especially, every morning there'd be rats scurrying across that road in front of that supermarket.
I'll tell you what's creepy is when you see them hanging off the metal garbage cans.
Yeah.
Like when you see like the metal garbage cans that are they almost look like a fence. It's you know what I mean?
Right,
The
right,
gar-
right. Oh,
Yeah,
like with
they've
the
got the
grating.
railings. They have the
Yeah,
railings on
grating,
them.
yeah. And they crawl up there and they're hanging off the rim. And you'll see sometimes 6 of them on a fucking thing when there's a full. It's really awful.
It's awful.
Yeah, like a regular outdoor
Like
city
the-
garbage can.
Yeah, like the one that was on the left right there. I think we just saw one with the metal
Nah,
rating.
no, they're graded.
No,
Yeah, they're graded.
We just saw there was like when you said you were like 6 in the morning, like 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening is usually like prime time for the rats. Like that's when they'll get up in the morning and look for food, or they'll do it at the end of the day when people are like leaving work and all the garbage is being thrown out.
Right.
And if you see a rat out, like if you see one, that's the weak rat. So the alpha rats will send out the weaker rats to look for food first, and then once they find it and they don't die from the poison or they aren't killed from the food, they'll come back and get all the rest of the rats. So if you see one by himself looking around, that's usually the weakest of all.
That's
Oh,
probably
wow.
one of the scariest things is the organization that exists inside
yeah.
the rat community, so they know what they're doing.
That's right. Yeah, there's the big alpha rat that's just like, hey, why don't you go check it out?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, boss. I'm going to go check it out, boss, and
Yeah,
come back
that's-
and tell you.
Wow. So, but if you see a couple of them going back and forth.
If you see a bunch, then they've usually gone and gotten everybody else. Like there's a scene in the film where we found this big pile of garbage downtown, and so we're going to the bags, and they're lifting up the bags, and so you're seeing big rats, middle rats, baby rats, because what's happened, so they scouted the bags and then went and got the whole colony. So the whole rat colony comes up.
Was that just some dude, by the way, who walked up and saw you guys filming?
That was the guy who works next door. He's like, he goes, oh, you guys want to see rats? Hey, look at this.
He just started kicking garbage bags, and I mean, there were dozens of rats in
Dozens
the
of
garbage
rats.
pile.
That's fucking. And you know what would be really awesome if you went and zoomed in on the rats and they're as grossed out by each other as we are. Like, not wanting to touch anything, all skeeved
Yeah, look at that guy. That guy's like Tom Cruise climbing up in the middle of those garbage cans.
I gotta cut out. You're fascinating, dude. I'm filming something this morning, but
Great to see you, Jim.
I love
Thank
your
you,
work
brother.
so much.
Great
man.
to see
You're
you.
So good, Morgan.
Thank you.
How do you feel about all the documentaries that are popping up on Netflix now? I feel like
I think they're okay. Oh,
I think
you
Netflix
can leave.
has done an awesome job of just making more people watch docs, see docs. I mean, between Netflix and like 30 for 30, like the way that they've been able,
Yeah.
the way they've grown the audience of people who would never watch docs before is fantastic.
Do you watch that? Like, did you watch the OJ 5-part 30 for 30?
I did. I thought it was brilliant.
Do
I
you
thought it
sit
was
there
so
and watch
good.
something like that? Like, fuck, I wish I could do something that like epic. You know what I mean?
It's-
Because like for 10 hours
Yeah.
of like this whole, here's the whole story.
Well, the thing is, like, Ezra didn't even come in thinking it was going to be that big in the beginning until he started doing his research and then started saying, here's what the episodes will be. And it kind of just got bigger and bigger and became this thing. And he's like, I think it's going to be this long. And ESPN's like, great, let's do that then.
As long
let's
as
do
you
that.
want.
Yeah, let's do that.
and they made like a TV event out of it.
It was incredible, and it was so well done. And I think that, and that's one of those things, like, you know, you go back 5-10 years ago, would not have happened in the States. You know, that's a very European production. Like, that is a very European way of telling a story. We're going to do a 6-part, 5-part doc about one topic over this many nights. And the fact that we've kind of come back to the point where now in the U.S. we have things like Making a Murderer, The Jinx, and things like the OJ piece, where there are these long, deep dives into like really specific topics, and they're rating through the roof, and people are eating them up. And I think that smarter fare, people are seeing now that smarter fare will win, and that they can bet on smarter fare and it'll do well. And so that's what I really believe in.
It drives me crazy though, because like I feel like Super Size Me came out and that was the first one on a mass level.
And was populist. It was a very, very populist movie.
And it was kind of like, but you left going like, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat that much fast food or something or whatever.
Yeah.
But like now, I can't watch any of them anymore.
Yeah.
Because apparently there's no food that you can eat. All food.
It's all bad.
I watched one about it. Corn is bad. Everybody
sugar
corn, might as well be cocaine.
That's right.
Like everything. I'm like, I thought I was okay, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, you can't drink water. You don't know where your water's coming from. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's just, you're gonna shrivel up and die.
Right. Plus, like all old people now look terrible because they all think they should be skinny.
That's right.
And then put a little weight on. Like it's okay. But what do you think of the phenomenon of nutrition docs?
It's I think that again, everything in moderation. I'm a big believer everything in moderation, including moderation. So I think that I think you need to find the movies that you like. I think that there's topics for everybody. There's movies about veganism and vegetarianism and animal rights and your grain and big farming and agribusinesses. So I feel like there's a lot. And at some point though, you have to like say, okay, here's how I'm going to live my life.
Yeah.
You know what? I think those people in Japan, they do a great job. They eat a lot of fish. They don't eat any processed foods. They have some rice. Like they vegetables. Those guys, they got a good diet. They have very low heart disease. That sounds. Oh, the European, those Mediterraneans over there who look so tan and healthy, and they eat all that olive oil and fresh food and pasta. It's like I want to do that life. I feel like that you just need to find something that works for you, and and just don't be an idiot about it.
What if it's like fuck it, I'll figure it out in my 40s. Does that work?
You've just described every friend I have.
yeah. When you're in your 20s, you're like, I'll figure it out once I'm in my 30s.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Fuck it, I'm good till 40s.
Then
I'm
suddenly,
sure.
then you're like this fat guy in your 40s, and you're like, all right, then I should probably figure this out now.
yeah. How did this happen?
How did this happen? Thank goodness I'm already married. Yeah,
Exactly.
don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. So what do you just become like when you have a project? Do you just fully invest and become? I'm going to be obsessed with rats for
X amount of time,
right? However long this shoot is, and then I'm just going to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, I usually will balance my time, becoming obsessed about one thing while we're in production on that, and that becomes like my number one focus. But I'm usually prepping the next thing automatically because there's already something in the wings, and so while I'm diving into this, I may already be doing some pre-research on the next thing. But I'd say 90 to 95% of my brain power is like invested in like vermin while we made this. That was it.
But then you end up being the guy at the party who can just talk about anything. That's right. You're moving from project to project.
Exactly. I'm like this amazing encyclopedia of minimal knowledge.
I have a base understanding of
everything. Yeah. I have a base understanding of almost everything. That's right.
Do you live in the city?
I do. I live in Brooklyn.
How do you do it after this fucking thing that you did?
In my neighborhood. It's like I was just telling somebody this. It's like I've not seen a rat in Fort Greene in a while. Like I live in a good kind of. I don't say it's rat free because I don't think rat free is. New York City's not rat free. Oh, they're everywhere. The guy
with his cigar, he told me, fanciest places you'll ever go to. They're there.
But I'm in a very unfancy neighborhood. I just think that I don't think there's a lot of empty lots around. I think they do a pretty good job with the garbage. So I have not seen, and now I've just jinxed myself. I have not seen a rat in my neighborhood in probably a year. Like my immediate neighborhood, and that's like within 3 blocks of my house. I haven't seen a rat.
But if you see one, it's probably just one, right?
Oh no! If you see one, if you see one, there's a whole gang of them just waiting.
They're all over. Like it's so weird too, because like I think he's right, and maybe it's because they throw out more trash. But the really expensive neighborhoods, like when you get way downtown, like by like where the World Trade Center,
you get down near Wall Street, or you go up like Park Avenue or those places where they're throwing out bags and bags and bags of garbage. There are so many rats up there, and you'll see them like all along Park Avenue, Fifth Avenue. At just certain times when like all those giant bags of garbage come out.
They figure out where the good life is.
That's exactly right.
They're like, hang out,
they throw out such better food uptown. We should go up there.
They don't use any of those pesky mint garbage bags.
That's right.
So what's the next? What are you going to be working on after this? This is on Saturday at 9 p.m. on Discovery.
Correct, yeah.
And by the way...
And then so it'll be on Saturday, 9 p.m. on Discovery. That's the premiere. And then, a month from now, it'll be on Netflix, 35 days.
Oh, great.
In 35 days, it'll be on Netflix where everybody will be able to see it, commercial free. So it'll be great.
And it's also really good if you don't live in the city.
Yeah.
it's a great thing to watch because you're like, like I'm good.
Exactly.
Like I got because I live in Westchester.
Right.
So when the thing comes up that says Westchester, New York, I
You're
go,
like, no,
don't do this to me. Don't do it. But when it was just the lab,
just
I
the
was
science, just the
thank
scientists.
God, because I live in an old building, and I'm like, if they're in any building in Westchester, they're in my building.
Yeah, this movie, and you also want to make sure you eat before you watch this film. So eat beforehand,
Right.
before you watch the film.
Because you're not going to any restaurant after
You're not going to
this.
be eating after this or during it. I have a feeling during the film you're going to be putting whatever you're munching on down.
Yeah, because I worked in a movie theater, when I was in high school or whatever.
Yeah.
And like we would literally it was I think it was like field mice.
Right. Probably.
But who knows?
Sure.
Right. And so, but we
Or as Ed would say, those aren't field mice. Those are baby rats.
I'm not treating you for field mice.
I'm treating you for field mice.
Because like the things that we did to take care of that place were so bad. Thank God the movie theater shut down now because there was like where you store the candy, right?
Yeah.
We would have behind the counter, not in the glass thing, but the spare, the extra candy that you would replace the stuff with.
Yes.
One shelf, we just gave up. We were like, okay, that's for the field mice because there's droppings.
They're going to get in there anyway.
And there's holes in the boxes.
Yeah.
So don't put anything on that shelf. And just like, it wasn't a foot above it. That's where we'll keep the candy. They won't get up there. They just do the bottom shelf. Or it was like the popcorn. Like we'd leave it on the floor. Like we'd put it in a big yellow garbage bag.
That's right.
And we just use it the next day. But why? There's mice in the theater. What are you doing?
That's amazing.
So yeah, don't do anything there. Don't do anything anywhere.
That's right. Yeah, we have this amazing film that this is the next thing, but it's not the next thing. We've already finished this. Like so, while we were shooting Rats, this other movie that we premiered at Sundance was making the rounds, and it comes out in theaters next week. So people, this is a great thing for people who don't want to see Rats, who don't like horror films. We made a spectacular family movie, which I've never made a G-rated movie in my life, and so we made this film called The Eagle Huntress about this 13-year-old girl whose father teaches her how to hunt with like a golden eagle.
Yeah.
This girl is like a superhero. It's like the greatest girl power movie ever. So everybody should take their kids to see this film. It is phenomenal.
And did you did you write, direct?
So basically the director of the film, Otto Bell, came to me with like 10 minutes of raw footage about 2 years ago and said, "What do you think?" I said, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
And so we came on and finished the whole film with him. Like we basically,
wow.
So we brought on the whole crew. We raised all the money. We did all the reshoots. We did all post. I got Sia to do the theme song. Daisy Ridley narrates the film.
Man.
It's awesome.
That's
So
amazing.
people will love this movie. Like it is we already sold the remake rights to Fox Animation. It's
So did
cool.
you just kind of figure out the industry after the first one did
After
well?
Super Size Me.
Were you just like, how do I make a career out of this?
Well, I was already working in the film and TV industry. Just it was a lot more hustle with a lot less success. you know? And so on the heels of that, I was like, I have a real opportunity to do more. And so we built a business, and now we do movies, we do TV, we help other filmmakers.
Most of those hit like documentary of the moment things.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the guy doesn't have staying power usually.
Yeah.
So you've done something.
I'm very tenacious. I'm like a rat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna keep going.
Here.
I'm gonna be here. I'm sticking around.
Oh, Morgan Spurlock. Oh, he'll be there. Oh, he'll be when I'm gone. He'll still be here.
That guy'll still be here.
What's your favorite thing that you've done? Do you have one, or are you just moving to the next?
No,
thing?
I mean, I listen. I love all my children, even the ugly ones, as my friends love to say. It's like, but there's movies that I've made that I really am proud of. Like, Greatest Movie Ever Sold is a movie that I think to this day is still funny and still sharp and such a meta film. For people who haven't watched it, it's a movie all about product placement, marketing, and advertising.
By the way, I believe the film is actually called Palm Wonderful Presents.
The greatest movie ever sold. See, it works. See, the branding and marketing works. So the whole idea behind it is it's a movie all about product placement, marketing, and advertising that was completely paid for by product placement, marketing, and advertising. And it's such a mind fuck when you watch the film. Like, it's so great. I loved it.
I honestly thought that one might be your favorite too, because it also like you got to tackle something that you have to deal with. Like this is like that's actually what as you're making these things and making these things and that's what you have to go through, and now you get to.
And people say well, maybe you could have a brand sponsor this, and I'm like, no brand's gonna sponsor anything I make. And then suddenly my partner Jeremy and I were like, well, maybe we should try and get brands to sponsor this. That's a good idea. Let's try that. And it was it's a great film. Like, I love that one. I love the film that we made about Comic-Con a couple years ago. That we did with Stan Lee and Joss Whedon, Comic-Con episode 4, A Fan's Hope. Like, that was just such a great fun film to make. That film was awesome because that film we shot the whole film in a week.
'Cause it's Comic-Con.
Because it's Comic-Con.
Right.
So we shot the people who were going to Comic-Con that we were following like a couple days before, and then we shot the 5 days at Comic-Con, and then we shot them like a couple days after, and then that was it. Movie's done. There's no pickups you're going to do. There's nothing else. Like, movie's in the can.
Right.
And so we shot all the interviews while we were at Comic-Con, both with like the famous folks and the fans that were there, not to mention the people we followed. So that's just that was one of those where it was so intense and so exciting, and I was sleeping like 3 hours a day for like 6 days.
Right.
But it was one of the most gratifying experiences.
Plus, if you're like, if I could figure out how to do movies in 3 days,
That's
like,
right,
if this was just my thing.
Like, can't I just do this? And then we actually left that and we said, how can we do more movies like this? This was a good idea.
Well, I would highly recommend that everybody sees Rats. It's on this Saturday at 9 p.m. on Discovery. I already have a text message from somebody who lives here that says, thank you for ruining my muffin and day and night. Fuck you, Morgan Spurlock. And that's just based on this conversation. So I can't imagine how upset they're going to be
You
when
are
they
going to love this movie. Whoever sent that text, you're going to love this film.
But it really is. It feels like a horror movie, and the sounds and everything, and like you just become, if you don't leave. I was talking to my wife about it last night, and I go, no, it's a great movie about how like we can't kill rats. And she goes, oh, you mean because we need them? And I go, no, because they're stronger than us. We physically can't get rid of them.
That's right.
I go, we don't need them at all. She goes, what do they offer us? I go, I don't think anything.
No, not much.
I don't think
very,
they're good
very,
for
very
anything.
little. They're not like spiders or bats. Like
Right, that
it's
have a purpose in the ecosystem.
Very different.
Yeah, they're competing with us.
That's right.
And they might win.
They're
Probably.
They're the second most successful species on the planet behind us.
Right.
For now.
For now. And we'll see how the election goes.
That's right. That's right.